Hello, it's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee. Okay, so what I'm making today is a reindeer sweet tray. Now, the reason I'm making this is, you know those tins of roses you get in England? Oh, huge. And yeah, I think we get through quite a few. So I'm making a tray so that we can separate it out. I'm making the tray out of hessian. I'm lining it with white cotton. I have some eyes for the front, and I have some buttons for the nose, and I have some brown felt, and I'm going to make the horns. Now this is like an A4 square, so I just wanted to show you what we were going to do, and this was the easiest way for me to describe it. But we're not using the felt other than for the little horns. So all we need to do is we need to sew this hessian and cotton into a square and then turn it inside out. But we do need our reindeer horns on there ready, because we're going to sew them in, just so it's really tidy. Sharp scissors, and I'm guessing, okay, I can show you what I think they'll look like, but who knows. Yeah, so really sharp scissors. And believe it or not, I don't think that reindeer's horns are identical. I think that they're always slightly different. So I'm going to put that on my pile for things later. Also, we'll need a needle and thread for the hand sew part. So I'm up to date really. All I need to do is get my machine and sew, not even 3/4, 7/8 around here. So I've got a little bit where I can turn it inside out. But before I get there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my horns and I'm going to sew them pretty much halfway round. So I've laid my hessian out, I've taken my white cotton and I'm just pulling them over, and if I'm lucky I've got a little bit of felt showing through, just so that I can see. Okay, so I'm going to pause the camera now and sew that round. Now, hello, so welcome back. All I've done, sewn it round, turned it inside out. I'm going to take my sharp scissors again. Yes, what I want from Santa. I know, more scissors so I can lose them. Okay, now this is always going to be a guess, alright? There's nothing I can say here. I'm making 2 holes. Now I'm going to take my funky fake eyes, toy eyes, and I'm going to put my hand inside there, and then I'm just going to pop them through and put the washers on the back. Now obviously if you can't get hold of eyes, I quite like the stick-on googly ones. I think they look fab, so you know, but that's entirely up to you. Buttons would work, or we could just use a little bit of a felt cutout. So that's done. Okay, yes, I can feel it on the back, but no, I'm not worried. Now I've got a choice of 2 buttons, and I think I'm going to go for the bigger one. Yeah, definitely. And it's really up to you. And I'm going to sew this on now, just so that I keep the back nice and just nice generally. So I'm going to pull my thread through. I've got a little knot on the end, couple of stitches. Now I'm sewing, I've pinched it so that this is all out of the way, and I'm going to cover my mistakes with the button, if that makes sense. I'm not the best hand sewer. I'm just not the best hand sewer. I don't concentrate enough. So, respect out there to all those hand sewers. Okay, so I have got my button, and just put a couple more stitches just to hold it in place. And of course, if you want, you can glue this, although, because gluing's fine probably for the first year, and then put it away, and then we glue it again. The glue just sort of, it goes a funny colour and sort of seeps through, so I'm not a huge fan, but let's face it, such is life. Okay, so that was quite simple. I can get that out of the way. Now what I need to do is I need to sew up this seam where I turned it inside out, and I'm going to do that by just pushing that seam there, and I am actually holding it quite taut, and then I will just walk my fingers to the middle and put the pin in it. So, and you can see it wants to stay there. Okay, so that's the next job. I can line it up. Now, I'm not going to do it now, but normally what I would do is I wouldn't just sew this up. I would sew it up, but I would top stitch all the way round, and it would just give it a nicer finish. But because of time, I'm not going to do that now. Oh, okay, I've just broken a needle. Okay, so the next job is I'm going to fold this so that I've got those sharp corners, and it really depends on how much you want this to go up. So we could have a shallow dish and we could put the pin there, or we couldn't go much deeper than that because we wouldn't be able to, we wouldn't have a bottom. So it's got to be at least halfway. I'm going to fold this one, and if I can line up these pins exactly. So I'm going to go to the next corner, and I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to mark it with a pin. Take this corner, and it is a bit more tricky at the front because we've got the face to worry about. I'm going to fold that nicely and then fold that through, and then I can mark it with a pin. Okay, so there where I need to sew. I am quickly going to just change this needle because I managed to snap a whole needle just by threading it. And yeah, I'll be right back with you. So welcome back. Okay, I've changed the needle in the machine. I don't believe I just did that. I must admit, I am, determined not to buy. I don't know where these needles came from actually. My local shop just sells size 11 needles, which is not the smallest needle you can get, but they're pretty small. So, okay, I've done 3 of my lines up, followed my pin. I've got my sewing machine all set up, take that out. Yeah, I've got an idea, just a mental nick in my sewing machine. I haven't actually marked it, but I've been doing it to that mark all the time. And I am just sewing a straight line. So there we are. Very simple. Very simple. Very clever, I think. I think this is cutie pie. Okay, now obviously he'll look better when he's got some sweets in him. And we have got to just take these ears, for want of a better word, and push them flat. I still have my needle and my thread, and I can just put in an invisible stitch on each of these 4 corners, and then away I go, really. Okay, so I have cut it so that the nose is not right, but other than the fact that I made a silly mistake, I think the actual make is quite sound. So all it is, tiny knot, pull that through, not going to pull it all the way through, and pull it through again. Sorry, I tend to sew on my lap, which is not ideal, and then I can just knock that off. Yes. I suppose I could put a couple of stitches just to make sure his rhino, his horns stick about, but other than that, I'm very happy with him. Just a little reindeer sweet bowl so that I don't have the whole tin open, and we know how disastrous that is. Well, thank you so much for watching. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee. I do daily videos, so do try and have a look to see if there's anything else that might interest you. And of course I want you to subscribe, I want you to share, and I want you to like. Thanks ever so much for watching.